Hi, and welcome to another episode of Transformation Decoded. And this week we talk about passion. What does it mean? How do you get it? And what price are you willing to pay to pursue your passion? Find out more on the next episode of Transformation Decoded. Well, welcome to this week's Transformation Decoded. I am Lee Woodward, and I am joined by our co-founders of Transformation Decoded, Miss Isabel Banerjee and Miss Jackie Ulmer.
Hello.
And this week we have what is, I think, going to be a really great discussion because we want to talk about passion and what does it look like to us and what does it mean to have passion in our lives. And this came to me probably last week. I really started to think about it and just started to have this whole theme of passion and purpose come up. And I started to think about when my mother told my daughter, 21-year-old daughter, I wish you could find your passion in life. And when I heard it in that context, I told you guys that it felt really big to me, like this idea of finding our passion. And it just got me thinking, like, wow, where am I at on that? Do I feel like I know what my passion is now? Did I ever know what my passion is? And like, what does that word mean? And is life okay if we don't have it? And all those other things. And we proceeded to get onto a great conversation with that. So I just want to jump right in and kind of like start out with you, Jackie. And what does passion mean to you?
This is such a great question and a great topic. And I've spent a few days really thinking about this. It's really been in my brain. So I'm thrilled that we're discussing it because it's kind of interesting. One of the things that we talked about, as you two remember, is are the two related? So your purpose, your passion, and then as I call it, your profits. I have used those three. I'm all into alliteration. So passion, purpose, profits, profit being the business side of it. And it really, all of this kind of made me think about what does all that mean? And I've shared before about my 5 favorite F words. Then those are my value buckets, basically with faith and family and friends and fun and fitness and finance and all of those. And I look at those and I break those into what my purpose is within each one of them and what my passion is. And it's so interesting because I'm a business coach and I primarily work with network marketing and direct sales professionals. Um, and I always say I stumbled into network marketing as the reluctant network marketer. I've said before, I thought it was something you did when you couldn't get a real job. But in looking for something to help me pursue my passion and my purpose and be able to fund all the fun that I wanted to have in my life with my family and friends, uh, it really fit in terms of being able to design a business and design a lifestyle and an income around what fit for me. Now, it's kind of interesting in thinking back on that. Um, I don't know that I'm passionate about network marketing or any one company or any one product line. I'm passionate from a personal experience of having built a successful company and knowing what that provided for me in terms of being able to fulfill the other passions, which, my passions are travel, big time, my family experiences, all of that. So it was just interesting bringing that together and thinking, how do you marry all of that together so that you're not selling your soul or working in a soul sucking environment to create the profits that you need or want to fuel the passions and the purpose. So it's been interesting kind of weighing all that out.
Well, Isabel, how about you? What about your thoughts on what does passion mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought much about it till we had our mastermind conversation on Monday and then today sort of reflecting in preparation for Transformation Decoded, it became like a huge conundrum. It's like spaghetti in my brain, wondering is in fact what I was thinking it was kind of like the chicken and the egg. For me, which is it? Is it my purpose that creates my passion, or does my passion drive my purpose? And then I was looking for some definitions on both of those, and there were, connections to, follow your passion, find your purpose, that becomes your profession. I much, Jackie, because I'm a business person too, an entrepreneur. I like your connection between passion and purpose and profits, because I'm very much about that. If we don't generate profit, we can't do anything good for anybody, including ourselves. So it's a lot. It's a lot more complex and deep than just a T-shirt or a poster on the wall, truly. So I'm so happy. Well, not really actually, because I feel kind of tired and cranky today. So, but truthfully, I'm glad that we are opening up this conversation, because it, the expression "find your passion" has become like a platitude, and I don't like it. And if I don't have a passion, does that mean I have no purpose or value? And if I don't have a purpose, does that mean I can't be passionate? So I'm throwing it back to both of you. Like, what the heck? Okay.
I know. I mean, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I used to, just kind of think, gosh, I have tons of passion, and I don't, and so that word, just like I said, seems so weighty, and it's kind of like, what if you don't have one? I mean, it's almost like the message is like, gosh, you have to know your passion, you have to live it every day. We were talking about some of our people that we love to hear from stage that are all like the passion people, and it's like, well, but what if I'm just not feeling it? And so, and I told you, so I want to throw this out that I had just finished a book, excellent book, Under the Scarlet Sky. But the whole story about the author just kind of comes down to that he was in a pretty difficult place emotionally, mentally, and kind of career wise when this opportunity to kind of learn more about this story that he ends up writing this book about comes about. And you can tell by how he writes about this decision to write this book that it became a passion for him. I mean, to the point where he talks about basically mortgaged their financial life to go on all these required research trips and hiring people that could help them, translate documents and all this stuff. And I thought, wow, like what in my life right now? And I asked you guys this at breakfast the other day, like, what would you mortgage your house for? Like, do you have anything in your life right now? Not people, of course, or kids, but I was talking about a passion, like something you're like, yes, that means so much to me. I'm willing to put it all on the line for it. Jackie, anything or ever in your life like that, I guess?
I don't know that I can take it to that extreme, which is interesting. It's kind of funny. Mark and I feel, that's my husband. We feel really settled in our home. Like, it's kind of funny. He'll go stand out in front and look at it and then come in and go, I love where we live. And we just feel like we've created this little space and environment, and we just really love being here. And that's been a blessing for me with COVID and sheltering in place, because I look around and I think, okay, well, I'll go sit by my pool. And if I don't like that, then I'll go sit in my office, and then I'll go sit in my living room. I just had different options. And I've worked hard with my purpose and passion and pursuing it, as has he, to create those profits, to be able to create that space and all of that. So I don't know that there's anything that I would mortgage my house for, because I really love, part of my passion is just being here, really and truly. So I don't have an answer for that, but I do feel like, I don't know, I'm kind of a simple person too. Like, I look around, I don't have expensive tastes. I'm not into jewelry. I'm not into fashion labels. In fact, I don't even like to shop. I much prefer to order online or just buzz in, buzz out, know what I want, and be done with it. I'm much more passionate about long dinners with great conversations, with good wine, and, like I say, travel and those kind of things. But even that, I don't feel like any of that is just so off the chart cost wise that I would have to do something. And in terms of like an altruistic endeavor, I'm really still working on a lot of that, figuring out what that real piece is. I've been involved in a lot of altruistic and mission type work, but nothing that I started, nothing that just captured me to the point that I just felt like I have to do this no matter what. Um, and so when it comes down to a lot of it, it's like, I guess that's a part of who and what I am in terms of my purpose is living an abundant lifestyle. And, I mean, the word abundance doesn't necessarily mean a lot of money. It's feeling abundance. It's having those experiences. It's whatever that means to you, to where you feel home, you feel like you belong, you're in that place and that space that really resonates and works for you. So I'm passionate about living that life myself and inspiring others on how to do that. And, one of my biggest passions is mindset work, is mastering your thoughts, mastering your mindset to get you there. So even though business coach is my title, at the end of it, the piece that I'm most passionate about, the piece that I'm most effective with, is the mindset piece of it. So I don't know how that equates into mortgaging my house or anything like that. But I am always drawn to that. That's why I've checked out so many library books. I'm almost at 6,500 now. For my 4 years in Scottsdale, but I do have a passion about learning and the mind and how all that works.
Yeah. Isabel, how about you? Like something where you've, felt so passionate about it that you were really willing to put a lot at risk?
Well, in fact, I had a bit of a lifetime flashback, a review of my life when you were asking Jackie that question, and I thought, I've had examples of times where I really bet it all on the outcome, including leaving home when I was 16 and making the decision to support myself and my infant son and not go back. And so that was a passion. My passion then was choosing not to be a victim, choosing not just to settle for surviving, being a survivor, but pursuing how to thrive. And I hadn't thought about it in this context until just now, but yeah, that was betting it all because I could have, we could have ended up crawling back and begging to come home, or we could have ended up in a shelter or social welfare or, whatever other things. So I guess my my passion there was all about creating a life of comfort and love and security for my son and I. Having been an entrepreneur and yeah, you could say definitely I mortgaged my home as a small business owner because when you guarantee an operating line as a business owner, an entrepreneur, to get a bank line to buy goods from suppliers that you could collect payment later uh, from your customers, and you're paying payroll and overhead in between. If anything goes wrong, yeah, there goes your house because you have signed on the line. The bank's the bank's definition of risk is your risk and not theirs, right? So I was absolutely positively passionate. In fact, looking over my head behind, I see my license plate from Canada up there, Fancor. I put my life financially on the line for the people on my team in that company. So I was passionate enough about what I thought we were doing as a group. And that was the other thing I've been thinking about today is, the sort of the program was running in the back of my mind about what we were going to talk about as I was doing some other things and thought, is it, um, is it okay that there are times when I don't feel like I'm really plugged into that a passion? that I am in transition, which is kind of appropriate for the moniker of our program. We are transforming and decoding and figuring out the evolution of passion and purpose in our lives. So heavy stuff was going on in my brain.
Yeah, and when I think about, I really, that question about what have I put on the line for, passion, what I've been passionate about.
Yep.
I was never did what this guy did. Like I never had something where I was like, I've done risky things and I've taken, but it was never driven by this just internal burning desire, which to me is kind of what passion means. It's like something that's almost bigger than ourselves, right? That need is always type thing, or comes from your soul or whatever. And I thought I haven't had that. When I was talking actually to Kevin, my husband, about it, and talking about passion, and especially in relation to our daughter, like, wow, that's a lot of pressure. I don't remember anyone at 20 saying to me, you need to find your passion. It was like, can you get a job? that was the big focus. So
Make your
and
car
so I
payment.
was, yeah, exactly. So it was a little, perhaps simpler times or something. I don't know, but and I said, I think probably the one of the only jobs I've been passionate about was one of my first jobs, my first professional jobs. And I've had a wonderful career and I've loved so many of my jobs. I've gotten so much out of them. They've afforded me opportunity to travel, live so many different places, including abroad. So I just think about, and Jackie, to your point, all the things that I've been able to do outside of work, like travel and enjoy
Yeah.
and, family. So that all makes sense. But I just remember, it was like that one job I worked at, and it was just, I worked so hard at that job, but we used to joke and say that there were three noble causes in the world, and our product was called the Zip Drive, but we said it's to solve world hunger, bring world peace, and get everybody a Zip Drive. That was like, but that was the passion in the hallways. And I remember that was fairly addicting for me to kind of be around that and be part of it and be able to help create that type of energy. So I was like, I think that's like one of the times, like, especially professionally, where I felt like, whew, I'm on fire, baby. And like, it's bigger than me. And yeah, I'm going to change the world. Um, it's, it's been, but I think right now, Isabel, I want to touch on what you're saying. Like, I'm struggling. Like, what am I passionate about? I care about a whole lot of things. And I don't know, Jackie, like you said, maybe it's COVID and so much time to kind of really think and hear our own thoughts a little bit more. In some ways, there are more distractions, but in a lot of ways, there are fewer distractions, at least in my life right now. So, and I'm like, yeah, is it okay that I don't have something right now that's like giving me that heart? Like, yeah, baby, I got to go do this now. I don't, I don't know. Throwing it back out to you guys because I'm still trying to figure it out as well.
Well,
Like,
I
am I
feel that way
missing
too. And
something?
I thinking about your daughter being posed that question. I mean, I look at my daughter who's 25 and I think, gosh, I don't even sort of expect her to have it figured out, because I really feel like your passion and your purpose, and then ultimately your profits, come from life and time and experiences. Now, I will say this, my husband's one of the few people who knew from age 8 what he wanted to do professionally, and that was fly an airplane. And that's what he did. He pursued it with a passion. He had to do other things to ultimately support his flying career to, finish getting his ratings and blah, blah, blah. But he's done that forever. And it's been a frustration, not only of mine, but of my two children, when he was kind of like, all right, people, what are we going to do? Like, what are you going to pursue? Whatever. And, even my daughter used to say to me, wow, it's really cool that dad knew all that from age 8, but I don't. And I always have to say, I don't either. Like, you guys can't even explain to people what it is I do. So how could I even possibly have that figured out either? So, I think it's rare the person, very rare the person that figures that out early, pursues it, and even sticks with it. Because so often what we think we're passionate about, even pursuing in college, I think it's worse now because in most colleges, you're forced to pick a career path before you even enroll. Whereas it used to be you could do 2 years, all your electives, and then you could ultimately declare and whatever. And you can switch and move around, but that's hard in some states too with impacting everything else. So I think that even makes it more challenging to pursue what you think is your passion, because I think it's less than, I mean, like 80% of people or more don't work in the field that their degree is in. So I think that gives some really good insight into figuring out at a young age how to pull all that together. And do you even stick with it?
Yeah, well, and I guess, it kind of goes back to this, and we talked a little bit about this as well. Like, I do think we default into, and not just we, like the three of us, but like in our culture in general, of tying passion with profession, that somehow they have to link, in that if you're doing a job, so if you're doing a job that you're not passionate about, somehow is it as good? And then also, kind of, we talked about the flip side of that, is sometimes we may look at a job and say, well, how could someone be passionate about, we said, being a sanitation worker? Therefore, that job isn't as important because it's not something we typically think of being passion driven. So I don't know, Isabel, kind of like, what are your thoughts on how passion maybe gets distorted a little bit?
Absolutely. I really thought it was a contradiction. I recall hearing statements that your passion fuels your purpose. And then on the next screen, I would see your purpose fuels your passion. I, I don't believe that they have to be connected all of the time. I see that my purpose is a means to provide for my ability to fulfill passions, as Jackie mentioned earlier. I'm trying to think about, and I also believe that as I get older and wiser and accumulate more feminine wisdom, maybe I shouldn't say I'm wiser, but I've accumulated more tacit knowledge and feminine wisdom. I just, I, I don't want to be hung up in that label, and also that I need to have only one, or that that can be the only one for an enduring period of time. I believe that if my purpose and my passion both are underpinned by my values, then that can evolve and grow and morph and be whatever I want, I feel like in that particular time, or what need is called on, I think. Not, I don't know that I'm expressing it all that clearly, but actually I do. I'm looking over here because I made a little note in my research for this today. I thought for the show, I loved this quote that I found, and it is, "Love the life that you live, and live the life that you love." And for me, that defined purpose and passion. And it may surprise you that that very deep statement came from Bob Marley,
Interesting.
isn't
Nice.
it? So there you go. Love the life you live the life you love. And I think we've got it. We've got the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, just as you were saying that, Isabel, one of the things that were, because I know I was guilty of kind of making passion really big, and like having it feel, which kind of equates to that, oh, it has to have this much impact or this much. And I thought, maybe just sitting here, I thought, well, maybe passion, the size of it's more about how it affects each of us individually, right? How big does it make me feel? How expansive, how happy, how purposeful, how aligned to my values? And so maybe it's just that's what makes it, feel so large and intense, is more about what it does for the individual person. So who's someone that says my passion's fishing, we can go, wow, cool. And I bet I'm also so glad you have something in your life that brings you so much joy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And not
absolutely.
judge it, how something needs to be, what does it need to look like to fit the definition of passion. So
Thank you for framing it that way, Lee, because you're right. Well, you brought to mind one of my passions in my life, and this one endures through all my life. The theme, I'm very passionate about being present and playing when I'm with children.
nice,
That just fills my soul to be right there with them in their imagination, knowing that they feel like somebody's paying attention and understanding and really cares about what they have to say. That that just fills me up, lights me up for sure.
nice.
And now that you're both grandmothers, and of course you've already done this as mothers, but I bet you understand what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely. So Jackie, what something pop into your head as Isabel's talking about what totally fills her up?
Yeah, I guess it really does go back to living an abundant life and a content life. And so it's kind of interesting. We've done a lot of study in here in Transformation Decoded in episodes on words and what they mean. What
Yeah.
does success mean? What does achievement mean? What does what does wealth
No.
mean? I mean, just so many things like that. And it is very individual. And I think that, Lee, you hit it on the head when you said we tend to equate all of this with career and making money and a lot of that. And it's like what you brought up with, um, I think it was the sanitation guy or whatever it was. And I just had an experience like that with a couple of people who have very blue collar jobs. They're well paying and well benefits. They have great benefits. Are they passionate about their jobs? Absolutely not. In fact, they spent the weekend mostly complaining about the company and all that kind of thing as they were at the lake with their boats and their razors and off-roading and doing the things that they do with their family almost every single weekend that fuels their passion. And when they check out at Friday at noon or whatever and head to the lake and go do what they do, other than complaining a little, they leave the rest of it behind and they fuel that passion. And so you look at that and you think, okay, that's a life well lived in so many ways. I guess it would be ideal if you can and work to create it all to where all of it is passionate. But it's, I always say too, life is 50-50. Happiness is 50-50. You're never going to be happy 100% of the time. That's impossible. It rains on your parade. Somebody dies. We get COVID. I mean, there's so many things that come along that upset your happiness cart, but feeling still abundant and joyful and peaceful and content can be different things. And so, I look at that and I think, wow, my passion seems really small in relationship to the guy that would mortgage his house and go pursue, this big thing. I look around and I think, I can't think of anything that really strikes me that I'm willing and interested enough to do all of that. Maybe it just hasn't hit me yet. Maybe next year we'll do an episode and I'll be way off in a foreign country with my house mortgaged and telling you what I'm doing. But for now,
Oh no, that's great. And I think I'm with you. I don't have anything like that. And um, I think one of my passions, and you both know this, is I love dogs, and rescuing dogs is a huge passion for me.
Mhm.
And I've often thought about having a dog rescue at some time or doing something like that. But I'm like, well, now what I can do is I can rescue a dog when I can.
Mhm.
And, and so, but it's kind of funny because again, we were talking about the passion thing, I'm like, it's really a dogs? Is that my passion? Like dogs? So I was, is that okay? So, and you know what? After our conversation, I'm going with it. I love
yeah.
dogs and I love to rescue dogs. And that they blow my heart up. as do little kids, but there's something about dogs. So, but, and you guys know that. Well, we are about at our time. So I'm going to throw it back out to you, Jackie. Any final words of wisdom on passion, transformation, or whatever you feel?
Yeah, I guess, again, don't let anybody else like rain on your passion. Whatever it is for you at the time is good enough. And work it, work it, work it, and be willing to whatever the universe opens up for you, whatever door presents itself. And if you want to step through that and it leads to another passion or another purpose or whatever, that's the beauty of life.
Love it. How about you, Isabel?
Um, and it made me think back to some other episodes we've had in Transformation Decoded that kind of support this, and talking about imposter syndrome and not feeling good enough. That would be my wish for everyone, that when you feel you have a passion, to have that confidence mindset support team, not to get talked out of it or talked down, but go for it. I'm not encouraging everyone to mortgage their house, but in whatever way that you give yourself all with that passion of heart and mind to figure it out and learn and work through it and do it, and do so without the the anchor, the weight of it being a success or monetarily or whatever, but but for the experience and maybe the impact that you have on someone else while you're doing it. So go for it. As Bob Marley would say, love the life you live the life you love.
Love it. Well, we're going to wrap it up on a Bob Marley quote. I mean, we
Okay,
can't really get any better than that.
get some
So,
reggae going here, right?
Right.
oh, yeah. Well, once again, thank you for joining us for a conversation that, like most of our topics, could probably go on for days.
Yes.
But we would love to have the conversation continue by having you give us some comments. Let us know what you think. What are your passions? We'd love to hear about that.
Ooh, good
And
idea.
yeah, and so share in the comments below. And if you like this and want to see other episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as Isabel says, ring the little bell so you can get notified when we put new videos up. And also go out and find us on Facebook under Transformation Decoded and join our community there. And you will find more information about us. We're going to put our LinkedIn links in the bio so you'll be able to find out more about us, our businesses, and what we do. And we'll look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Stay healthy and safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.